Welcome to part 2. Alright, so after you're done smoothing it out with your sanding wheel, I think this is 80 grit here. Went pretty low. But what I'm going to do now is I'm still going to sand with the palm sander with 80 grit. And then I'm going to switch to 180 grit. And that'll be my final sand. And then it's ready to stain. So I'm going to get on that, get it knocked out. And then see where we go from there. Alright, so here's the beginning of the palm sander stage. So there's two ways you can do this. What I do is off of shadows. So you're going to catch shadows on these things, obviously. You can see. If it's a smooth shadow, like this one, it's good. But if you look up here, you can see a hard shadow line where it needs to be sanded still. Right there. So there you go with that. Also, to get this crease, to get this hard crease out of it, what I do, simply take the sander and dig that corner into it. You dig that corner into it and that sandpaper is going to overlap onto the other side and it's going to curve it out. It's going to put the curve on the sanding disc. And then do that on both sides. It comes out like that. It takes some work. It takes a lot of practice. But if you're patient with it, you'll get it down. So I'm going to sand the rest of this. So the second technique to find your imperfections within your waves is you can actually primer the entire flag before you do your final sanding, and then sand it again, and you'll find your imperfections within the flag, your high or low spots. I have done that a few times. I chose not to after a couple of tries. It clogs up your sandpaper a lot. You use a lot more sandpaper, and yeah, it's a decent technique, but like I said, you go through a lot of sandpaper doing that. On this one, now that I use the sanding discs, I use a lot less of the 8-hole sander paper, which I would go through a lot. But now I might go through maybe 2, maybe 3 pieces of sandpaper. So over time, you'll learn time management techniques. You'll also learn money saving techniques. Like I said before, I used to go through a buttload of sandpaper on the orbital sander. Now I go through a couple of sheets per flag. So there's that. Alright, so we're done sanding with the 80 grit. We're going to move over to 180 grit for the final sand real quick, and then we're going to get it cleaned off and start staining. She's all sanded, cleaned off. I blew it off with the air hose. Now, you're going to see some cracking to where the joints didn't meet up completely. And that's fine. Here. You can fill them. You can either fill them with wood filler or make up your own filler with wood glue and sawdust. What I have found, your color separations with the flag, you're not going to really be able to tell those cracks are there too much once you go with your red stripes. So if they're not too terrible, like these are pretty clean lines, just leave them. They're alright. Unless you're wanting to spend more hours on the flag that's already taken you 8 hours. Go ahead and fill them with wood filler. But I'm going to get going with marking the lines. We're going to do the union first. So 7 stripes down by 16 wide is where 15 3/4 to 16 inches for your union. So we're going to do that. This is what we're going to need: tape measure, a square, and some masking tape. Now add the width of your masking tape, which I'm using 1 inch for the union. Add that into your measurement. And mark that off. So when you're taping anything off, either the union here or the stripes, you're going to want to leave enough tape to come over this curve here onto the flat surface, because even under here is going to be colored. So this will be colored blue under here, and then the flat surface will be black. So just leave enough tape to where you can overlap it for your union. Alright, so we got the union taped off. The easiest thing to do is just follow the seams. Follow the seams of your stripes that you glued together. Just right here. It's pretty dang simple. But when you're taping, you're going to want to make sure your tape is completely flat. You're not going to want to get any creases in there like this. You're guaranteed to get stain leaked under that whole crease. So you better just take it off and redo it again if you have any creases in your tape. Nice and flat. You're going to have to finagle it a little bit to go where you want. So I just take about 2 inches at a time and lay it down on that joint. Now we're going to stain this and then start with the red stripes. Alright, so here's the stain that I use. It's a Minwax clear tint base. I believe this is True Blue. You can get these at Menards, Lowe's. I don't know about Home Depot. I don't go there. But this is the you'll have to take it to the counter, the paint counter, and have them mix it for you. Make sure this tape is down nice and snug. I always go over it a few times and make sure it's sitting well. Especially at the creases, the overlap of this tape. The stain will get in there. All right, so there's the union. Now, when you're doing it for the under the lip here, you don't have to worry about not getting it on there because we're going to be painting this black anyway. So it'll paint right over. You'll never be able to see that you did it. So yeah, just worry about your lines. As you see, I got a little bit of a stain right here and right here. Just take your sander over it to come right off. Same with the red stain, Minwax. I believe this is called Crimson. Lowe's or Menards. Like I said, I don't know about Home Depot. I'm sure they do. Each Minwax stain has a different name for the store. So the name at Lowe's and the name at Home Depot, the name at Menards are not the same. Now, as for tape, I use the Blue Painter's tape, 1 inch. It's a good size. It fits right on each side of the white line, so you can actually do the whole flag and paint or stain the entire flag on one pass. Now we're simply just covering the white stripes. All right, so we're all taped up. One thing you will run into is that this tape is not very stretchy. So when you're doing passes with your stain, make sure you push your tape back down before you do it. It'll stay just long enough for you to rub some stain on it. I've yet to figure out a way to make that go away and still stay on the lines. So as long as your outside lines are good, the middle bubble, it don't matter. I like to stay pretty clean with my stain. I don't put it on thick. You put it on thick, you're gonna get major bleed. So don't put it on real thick. If you need to take you need to make a couple of passes with stain on the rag to get a full coverage color on it, do that. But yeah, but don't put it on real thick. All right, let's get to staining. All right, that's that. Let's see how much bleed we have through here. One. Alright, so it turned out pretty good. I only got one little bleed through spot. Maybe one more small one. But a lot of them you can cover up, like this one here. A lot of them you can cover up with your torch. Or sander, you know, go back and just sand. Go back and just sand the little areas. I like to make mine look distressed because it's easy to hide your flaws, for one. And then for two, that's what people like. People like the tattered looks. So I'm going to fix this real quick with the sander. And then we're going to get the torch out. I was going to put some sandpaper over it and tatter it up a bit. But since I only had one flaw, I'm going to go easy on it. So I'm gonna sand it up a bit. Only on the red stripes, maybe on some corners. Make it look discolored, a little tattered. Alright, I like it. I might have gone a little too far with the blue sanding, but I'm pretty satisfied with just the little scuffs. And just make sure that you are getting under there with your stain. Just grab the torch. Do you remember when I told you there's no right and wrong? You know, it's kind of like the Bob Ross canvas. Well, I fucking hate it. Don't like the burns. It may look a little better with the stars on it once it's painted black under here. I just think it's a little too dark. Alright, well, I need paintbrushes and some black paint. I also need clear coat for this. Maybe even white. I don't know yet. I'm ill prepared. So I'm going to take a break, go get some supplies, and we'll wrap this flag up. Alright, I got my template for the flag. Yeah, I have a vinyl cutter, and with the wavy flags I paint them on. The flat flags I use the CNC, and CNC the flat stars. It's a lot easier. While I was out getting supplies, I forgot my damn paintbrush that I needed, so I might run out again and get it. I just want to get this done and out the door. So we're gonna put these stars on real quick. Alright, so we got the stencil on there in the same way with this as goes for the masking tape. It's not real easy to get it to sit flat, so you're going to get some bubbles. You're going to have to, like I did here, I cut it so it would lay flat. You're going to have to get these corners on there. So, but I think it looks pretty decent. It's not my best one, I'll tell you that. And all we do, just mist it with the white. Mist it with the white spray paint. Alright, so stencil's done, stencil's off. Don't be like me. If you're gonna use a vinyl cutter, or if you want me to make your stencils, I can. Just get a hold of me, leave a comment, or hit me up on Instagram or Facebook under True Allegiance Flag Company. Get permanent vinyl if you're gonna do it yourself. I got removable on accident, and that's what happens. It turns into a million pieces. If you get permanent, it'll come off all at once, and you won't have a big mess like I do. But stars are done. I guess I'm gonna go back to the store and get a paintbrush. Alright, we got the black done. Looks good. I'm excited for it. I put 2 coats on it. We'll let that dry and then clear coat it, and then it's ready to go. You can use any black paint you'd like. I don't keep a lot of brush paint around, so what I do is I just take my matte black spray paint, spray it in a cup. Just a little bit is enough. It goes a long way, believe it or not. And that's how we get that. I think it turned out good. I'm not real satisfied with the burn effect on it, but hey, it is what it is. So, like I said, I'm gonna let this dry and then we're gonna clear coat it. Rust-Oleum semi-gloss, the 2x ultra cover is what I use most of the time. It depends on the customer, really. If they want a gloss, I'll go a gloss. If they want matte to where it just looks like this, I'll do that as well. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with it. This is a semi-gloss, so it's just shiny because this shiny, just because I just sprayed it. Still wet, of course, but we'll check back tomorrow, see how she dries, and then I have one more thing to do to it. Alright, so that's the how-to. It's pretty long. If you ask me, it was pretty boring. But we have the final product over here, and I'll show you right now. Here she is in all her glory. It's hard to see the curvature sometimes in video. I think that always side view always gets it. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap this thing up and get it in the mailbox. Well, UPS anyway. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you do use my techniques, send me a link. Send me a picture on Instagram or Facebook, and I'd love to see it. All right, guys. Thank you.